So what do boho hippie girls, dark goth chicks, crazy artistic 30-something-year-old mamas, and bulls all have in common? Septum piercings. Hey everybody, it's Jennifer, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about the different jewelry that you can put in your septum piercing. Now, I know when I got my septum pierced, I scoured the internet, did Google searches, looked on Instagram, YouTube, for the different kinds of jewelry that I thought would fit my face well. And you know, I feel like since everybody has different facial structures and their noses are different, that different jewelry just looks better on certain people. And I really wanted to find that jewelry that looked really good on me, considering I'm kind of self-conscious of my nose. It's funny because I have 3 piercings in my nose, and you'd think I'd be trying to draw attention to it, but it's actually helped me come to terms with my nose, if you will, in a strange roundabout way. But I really wanted to find a piece of jewelry that didn't make my nose look bigger than it is. And you know, I saw these pictures of these beautiful girls with these teeny tiny little button noses, and I feel like any septum jewelry would look great on them. And so I was kind of on a mission to find what style of jewelry looked best in my septum. What I did is I ordered a few different septum piercings, and they're simple and classy, but they're different enough that I think they really do make a big difference on your face. And I decided to try them on for you, explain to you what I liked about them and what I don't like about them, and maybe this will help you in your search for the perfect septum jewelry for your face and your nose. Because, you know, there's some things to take into consideration when you're going to buy some, and I don't want you to waste money. They're really not all that expensive for the most part, depending on where you go. But you know, it'd be nice to kind of be able to see someone model them for you, and then you can base, you know, what you see and with my features, with your features, and what you think looks good in general. So with that said, I will start with your normal horseshoe, or they call it a curved barbell. And I believe this is what most piercers will actually pierce you with. And generally it's 16 gauge. Now they go with kind of the larger horseshoe because of course you're gonna have some swelling, and they wanna make sure that the jewelry is large enough to accommodate for that. And you know, it's pretty easy to get it on and off when you need to, and it's a cool looking ring. I really liked it when I got mine. Initially, I thought, oh my gosh, it's really big, and I think I'll want to size down when I'm able to change it, which was about a month after I got it pierced. It wasn't too long. I really felt like this piercing was the least painful out of all of the ones I've ever gotten, and it healed the fastest too. If your piercer pierces you in the right spot, which is that sweet spot that's actually not through cartilage. The horseshoe's great. I will probably wear this very often, and I ended up ordering a whole pack of horseshoe stainless steel. You can get the titanium surgical grade stainless steel, and then you can also get the titanium ones in different sizes. And I tried them. So this is what I wanted to get at in terms of the actual width of the ring. 10 millimeter and 12 millimeter are gonna be kind of on the larger side for your septum. Everybody's nose is different, and that sweet spot that I talked about, which is where your septum is supposed to be pierced, is obviously gonna be in different places for everybody. But for the most part, if you were to standardize, I'm sure, I would say that you know, a normal size, kind of erring towards the large size, would be a 12 millimeter, a 10 millimeter. So I tried some smaller ones, and kind of being new to the whole septum piercing world, I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe I'll size down to a 6 millimeter. Well, I got a 6 millimeter horseshoe, and it was really small. You could barely see the little balls poking out of my nose. They look like little silver boogers, honestly. I really wasn't digging that look very much. You know, some people, I've seen it on some people and it looks great, but just know that I feel like for most people, it's not gonna come around your nose, and it's just gonna be like little silver balls just on the inside of your nostrils. So just be warned with 6 millimeter. 8 millimeter is a really nice size. It's actually what I have in right now. And I'll talk about this one in a few minutes, but that's kind of on the small side to average side. So if I were to recommend sizes that you could shop for very easily for, you know, a tasteful size septum ring, I would go with either 10 millimeter or 8 millimeter. So just so you know when shopping, so you kind of have an idea of what size to go for. I wanted to show you guys another one that is kind of a standard piercing type jewelry, which is the captive ball. And this one, I thought just to change it up a little bit, I got it in black. And it has a silver ball, which I thought was really, really cool, and it looks really nice on. You know, black with the black ball to me looked kind of harsh and dark for my face, not to mention I have, you know, a bunch of the stainless steel and titanium jewelry in my ears and my nose. I wanted something to kind of tie it in, so that's why I had one with the steel ball. And actually what I did with this one, and you didn't have to, is I pulled out my nose ring and I put in a stud that had the black metal, and it really tied it in nicely. I really like this. I was surprised that I liked the black, but it was great. Here's the deal with captive balls though. They're really hard to put in, especially in your septum. For some reason with my septum, it was very challenging. Now with captive balls, you actually have to pull the ball out, which is kind of pressure set in between the two sides of the ring. And then you need to very gently with pliers pull them not apart, but you know, side to side. So here's the edges, and they just kind of go like this. If you pulled them apart, it's very challenging. I mean, you almost have to throw it away. It's very challenging to get it back into the right shape. But if you just, you know, pull them to the side, then you can slip it in. And then there's where the hard part is that you need 2 pairs of pliers to put them back, and carefully, of course, so you don't jar your piercing too much, and then get them back in line, and then be able to fit that ball in between the two. You know, it's not a piercing jewelry that you would want to change often. It's kind of a dedicated piece of jewelry. If you really like this look, and I like this a lot, that I might just put it in and keep it in for a few months because it's really pretty on. Yeah, but if you're going to be changing your jewelry out very often, I do not recommend the traditional captive ball. It's just a pain. And that leads me to something that's a little bit easier to deal with than a captive ball. And this is what's called a clicker. And I know if you've had your ears pierced, you probably have seen these before. And they just open up and click back into place. They have a little section that clicks right back into place. And so you can really easily open it up, stick it in your nose, and click it back in. And again, that is what I'm wearing in an 8 millimeter, and this is a 10 millimeter. And it's easy, it's seamless. If you wanted to change your jewelry often, I would highly recommend a clicker. They are just really simple and easy to find, and you can get them in just about any color, and I really don't feel like I have any complaints with these at all. Really simple, really elegant. The 8mm for me just hugs my septum perfectly. It gives it enough room so that it can turn. The 10mm, you know, is a little bit more noticeable, but it's very classy and clean and pretty, and I think clickers are awesome. So talking about the 8mm, I'm not huge on like stones and cubic zirconia sticking out of my nose, although I do have a teeny tiny little one on my nose stud. But this black one that's 8mm that has like 5 tiny little cubic zirconias on it really caught my eye. I was really surprised of how much I liked this. It's a clicker, and it's small and it's subtle. I think if you got a 12mm or 10mm of this, it would kind of be very blingy. But the neat thing about this clicker is that you could turn it around and wear it the other way, and you don't even see the cubic zirconia, so then it tones it down even more. So this one is really neat, and I will link all of these in the description below if you're interested. Then the next one is one that I'm, again, very surprised that I liked. It is a clicker, but it's a non-traditional clicker. So it looks like a captive ball with a cubic zirconia just hanging down the middle. It's a 10mm, and you know, if you think about it, if it was a real captive ball, this ball would turn around and only sometimes you would see the cubic zirconia. Sometimes it would be the other way and you just see the captive ball, which is fine. But this is just in place, that ball, and it's a clicker, so it opens up right next to the ball and goes in really easily. It's beautiful. I mean, it really is pretty. I was surprised that I liked it considering the size of the stone in there, and but it's beautiful on. But I would have to say, as of right now, this is probably my favorite one. It's beautiful and it fits really well. So, you know, I've seen the really ornate ones that hang down really low. I think that those might be really great for a special occasion or a festival or something like that. You know, I have 5 children. I can't have crazy stuff hanging from my nose that could get caught on something or hit. So I obviously err more towards the more conservative side of them, and pieces that I could put in and potentially wear every day for 6 months if I wanted to. You know, it's really nice to be able to change out your septum, especially if it's very easy, and it's a piece that doesn't take a lot of work like your normal traditional captive ball. But it really does change your look quite a bit. In terms of facial structure and your nose and whatnot, if you have a tiny little button nose, anything will look good, period, anything. I feel like if you have a nose like mine, where your septum kind of hangs down a little bit and it's a little bit larger for your face, I really feel like things that come down to one focal point is probably the best. A captive ball with, you know, the ball in the center or a small stone or something like that, I feel like really kind of brings your attention and narrows down your nose. That's what I've found. I really do like the curved barbell, but I noticed that with the 2 balls on the side, it kind of almost widens my nose. you know, this could just be my weird view of myself, but I felt that way. The very simple clickers, the ones that have nothing on them, I feel like look good on anybody. They're just really beautiful. Simple, elegant. I think there's not a nose out there that it wouldn't look beautiful on. In closing, I think you should really play around with the kind of jewelry that you can put in your septum. It's a neat place to have a piercing. It's just, I feel like it's just a really beautiful spot to have a piercing. It's eye-catching, it can really enhance your features, and we're at a place now where you can buy body jewelry that isn't terribly expensive. I will note though that titanium is great and relatively inexpensive to buy. Surgical stainless steel that is nickel free is another one, because a lot of people don't know it, but they do have a nickel allergy, and God forbid you stick one of those in there and your nose just blows up. Don't put a sterling silver hoop in your nose for a while until it heals well, because they do tarnish, and that tarnish can irritate your nose and cause a whole bunch of problems. So I wouldn't do that, but if you stick with titanium and surgical stainless steel, you'll find great prices, and you can really experiment with what looks good on you, what you like, and kind of be crazy with it too. If you want to try something, I mean, you might be out $10. I hope you enjoy your septum piercing, or if you're thinking about getting one, I would highly recommend it. It's a super wonderful piercing that you can hide pretty easily, especially if you're wearing a horseshoe, because you can literally flip it up into your nostrils and nobody can see it. And also, if you don't like it, well, you take it out and there's no scars or anything like that. So you might be out the money for getting the piercing itself, but you can try it out. I hope this helped you a little bit in making a decision in what kind of jewelry in terms of size and style that might work best for you and your septum piercing. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave comments below. I'd be happy to answer those. And until next time, be well.